So, also beide sind in der Waage und Sachsen. Und Sachsen der Ersthammer sind wieder vom höheren Start gestartet. Das ist der ganz offizielle Start für die Doppel.
Race number 3 on this opening day of action at the EBERSPÄCHER Luge World Cup in Altenberg, Germany. We're getting ready for the men's doubles competition. Hi again, everyone. I'm Tim Singer. It's been a great year for men's doubles with 4 races, 4 different teams having won the races, 2 from Germany, actually 3 from Germany, and then the World Cup leading Latvians. We'll talk more about the athletes in a moment, but first, the star of this weekend has been this historic track in Altenberg. And right now, to tell us a little bit more about the track and the action today, I'm pleased to introduce her debut at the microphone on the world feed from Team USA, hot off of another podium earlier here today. This is Sophia Kirkby. Sophia, welcome and congratulations.
Hey Tim, thank you. I'm very excited to be commentating. This is my first time here in beautiful Altenberg. I'm loving the weather and I can't wait to see what this race holds.
Now you know this start all too well, and the challenges begin early for the double sleds.
Yeah, as you can see, this doubles team is currently going through 8, but the real tricky curve is this curve that we're going into right now, curve 9. This exit right here is make or break sometimes, as we see in the women's doubles competition. Here they're going through Kreisel currently and exiting into curve 11. Now the doubles team is 2 people on 1 sled, so they do have to coordinate that sled together with no verbal communication. They are working with their bodies and the experience and the training that they've already had during this short week. Here they are just about to cross the finish line, going through curve 17, and that was Altenberg men's doubles.
And Altenberg's men's doubles is looking for a new track record because the team of Egert and Benneken, the all-time first place tying leaders of World Cup victories, Egert and Benneken, do hold a 9-year start and finish record. As you see, snow has finally stopped here in Altenberg. That's good for the race. But they were sweeping a little earlier today, and there are those track records. What do you think, Sophia? Can those be challenged today?
For sure. I do think that a track record does have possibility today. As you mentioned earlier, it was snowing and they had to sweep every 5 sleds for the women's doubles race. However, the snow has stopped and the ice is clear. There is no more snow that's falling off the sky, so I think that there is great ice with potential to hold another track record.
As you see in the background, a little bit of a wind as well. Checking out the start list, the seeded group will go in the middle. The Germans finished 1-2 earlier today in men's singles. They'll go back to back to back here in run number 1. Largest field of racers in both women's and men's doubles this season, 22 here in today's race. And if I'm not mistaken, Sophie, only 18 qualify for the second run.
You are correct. Only 18 will be qualifying for the second run of men's doubles luge.
All right, the athletes are getting ready. You figure the front runners of Latvia as well as the German teams should be good, but there are 3 Austrian teams, all of whom could also contend for the podium. So as we get ready for doubles, Sophie, I want to make a comment or play off something you were saying during our POV run. The bottom person in doubles luge, sometimes you don't get any of the attention. Often people just refer to the sled by the name of the top athlete. As a bottom athlete, 2-part question. One is, how do you feel about that? And the second is, what are you doing?
Oh, I feel fine about that. I love my top woman, and I hope that she gets the attention that she well deserves. And I'm sorry, what was that second question? Could you please remind me?
Well, and we can wait until we see our first sled from Slovakia, but what are the major responsibilities after the paddle of the bottom athlete?
So it depends on each team. Some teams have different rules amongst each other. However, personally, I have some steering jobs, and then I also have outside of the actual sliding jobs, like carrying the sled and prepping it sometimes.
But when you're on ice, it's just a question of the two being in sync, proper balance, and you and Siobhan, I know, have been together for years now. That develops over time.
Gotcha, now I understand. Yeah, it's just learning how you work as a doubles team together and what your flow is.
And a little later on, we'll see the two doubles partners who have done it longer than anyone together. The two Tobys, over a quarter of a century as a doubles team. They'll be later. We start off the first of 22, Team Slovakia, Tomáš Vaverček and Maciej Jami.
Very exciting. These guys have slid for years, and here they're about to approach that troubling curve that I mentioned. Let's see how they do. Beautiful. That was a great exit.
Really well done. So many pinball machines earlier today, and I'm sure we will see some later on.
That is quite possible, especially with men's doubles being top heavy. And oh, there was a little feet down. Oh, a little bit late into 13. Will they see? Oh, they've cleared it up, and now they are on track for 15.
Great recovery for Slovakia.
Here they are about to set the time for the rest of the doubles. We'll see how the next team can hold up their time.
But Vaverček and Sami in first place. Were they part? I don't remember. Were they part of that? No, they were not in the team relay this year. Slovakia does not have the singles athletes, correct? Or the women?
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, yeah, I think we see them in men's singles and men's doubles, but not women. So hopefully they'll get that together and rebuild pretty quickly.
Oh, I hope so. That would be so much fun to see.
One down, good recovery, midway down the track, an experienced piece of driving for Slovakia. Now the first of the Latvians. Latvia leads the World Cup Bots and Pluma. This is the second team in the depth chart. Ševiks, Mikliševiks, and Lucas Krasts. They finished second yesterday in the Nations Cup qualifying, or third rather, an event, thankfully, Sophie, you don't have to do anymore, at least recently.
Yep, that is correct.
Nations Cup, that's a stressful one.
This is a new team that I can see. Ševiks has long slid with another doubles partner, but now he's trying something new with a new teammate.
They finished just off of the podium, actually, last year at the World Championships. Fourth place in the men's doubles competition, which is perhaps their best career result ever, anywhere. 1700s back, 40, or ahead, I should say, 42 and change. The first of two runs for Team Latvia.
Yeah, it looks like their teammates there at the bottom are cheering them on, and they were happy to see them come down with a good run. Oh, you can hear them cheering. Listen to that, Latvia.
You get that everywhere. It's amazing how they bring a fan club into every track around the world. I'm sure we'll see plenty in Whistler.
Speaking of that fan club, you can see so many people in the audience today. They have showed up cheering. Oh, there's some Latvian cheering athletes. Love to see that.
Now the Canadians, Wardrobe and Zajanski, after taking an extended holiday break to get a few more reps on their World Championship track in Whistler. Devin and Cole yesterday finished second, and as the top qualifiers in the Nations Cup race, finishing only behind a young German team that was not qualifying for the World Cup.
Yeah, here they are. Let's see that start time. They are 500ths ahead of the lead. We'll see if they can hold that as they come out of curve 9. Great, that was a great save. They almost did a little back skid, but the top man held it well. Here they are coming out of Kreisel, going into 11. Oh, a little trouble there, a little feet down. Let's see if they can handle it. They're still skidding. Okay, now they're back online.
Right, it took a while, but it was a good recovery by Devin.
Yeah, let's see how much that affected their time. They're back by almost 5/10. Wow. That was a lot of troubles out of curve 11, going into 12, going right into 13, then they just carried that skidding until 14. They don't look too happy, but hopefully they can learn off of that and do better in the second run if they get one.
That's Altenberg for you.
Here you can see, great exit of 9, but that's not what the problem was. The problem, unfortunately, was here in 11 and 12. They was too high off of 11, came too early to 12, feet were down, and then they just started skidding.
Latvia leading the way. Now we're on to the seeded group, which includes 3 sleds from Austria. That's right, Wolfgang Kindl, who earlier today had a pretty bad crash in men's singles. He is cleared. We will see him in a moment for Team Austria in doubles. But first up, the world champions on this track from a year ago. You got Ricardo Scholl. And Sophie, they not only won the World Championships, they also the following week won the World Cup race. So obviously familiar and comfortable here.
They have a great history on this track, and we'll see if that holds up in this race. Oh, they speak of it, they just did a small tap, but we'll see how much that truly affected their overall time as they come out of Kreisel. Okay, they're doing all right. They have 1700s in the bank ahead of the Latvian team. They're fine there where the Canadians had their problems, and they are cruising over to curve 15.
3-time World Cup winners with great lines down here at the bottom. The patented Austrian speed, and by 0.3 of a second, they separate themselves from the qualifying sleds.
Yep,
Shaking their head though, Sophie.
Sorry, what?
They were shaking their heads. You know, they're probably disappointed just from what you saw here at the top, the little tap.
Yeah, that little tap after you've come out of your run, you can only just think, why did that happen? And you think of all the reasons how you could have prevented it. But they at least have something to walk away with. They do have 0.3 to work with right now. Here they are saying hello, but up next we have some of the best athletes arguably here. Up next is Team USA, Di Gregorio and Hollander.
Zach and Sean, they've been consistent this year. I would dare say consistently mediocre in their minds with a 10th, 11th, and 9th. So they'll look to push things up here on an Altenberg track where they really struggled last year at the World Championships at 21st place. Of course, last year also featured their first and to date only World Cup victory.
And they are off. Let's see what that start time is compared to the Austrians. They're just a little bit behind, but that's not too much. We'll see how curve 9. Oh, I heard a skid, but they came out great. That skid did not affect too much with their exit of curve 9.
Trailing by 900ths here out of the Kreisel now. This exit, nice.
It looks like they were going a little bit late into curve 11, but that did not affect them. They had a great exit, and here they are coming into 14. Great exit. They're setting up nicely into curve 15 with just a 10th behind, but again, Gatchoff do know this track very well, so... Oh, they held it. Just 1/10 behind.
Second place time of 42.291. One of the keys, despite a few taps here and there, they didn't lose any additional time to the normally fast Austrians down at the bottom of the track.
You are so right. They held up well. They had a few mishaps here and there. However, their time showed to be great, and here they are giving each other a fist bump. They love each other. They love everyone. They're so happy.
Green light to boot for Team USA, another American team coming up in a moment. But now the first from Italy, Nagler Malaya. The South Tyroleans have had 2 top 6 finishes. That was sandwiched in between a couple of disappointing 11th and 17th place results. Their 17th was last week on the challenging track in Latvia.
And they are off. We'll see what that start time holds. That was a good steer into the curve. Yes, they have almost 200s to work with right now. Oh, they're already in the red.
Amazing. They had the great start time. The troubles are compounding now out of 9.
Yeah, slight tap there, but that shouldn't affect it too much depending on how clean they can manage the rest of their run here. Oh, they're back in the green. They found time.
It's been a good day so far for Italy, breaking onto the podium for the first time this season, doing that in men's singles. Good lines down at the bottom.
And now they're up by a 10th from Gatshov, the previous World Cup champions here. And they built that up even more. Now they're at a 10th and a half. Look at Lucas, he's very happy for them.
That was impressive. Over the team that won the World Championship and the World Cup here in Altenberg. Italy moves out ahead of them, and they do it pretty convincingly.
Yeah, they did have that tap you can see here out of 9. However, the rest of their run was pretty clean, so that definitely helped them build up, or should I say lose time, and have more speed.
All right, Italy down, leading the way over Austria and the USA, and another American team getting ready at the top. This is the young team of Marcus Mueller and Ansel Haukshaw. They began the year announcing their presence with authority, 3 for 3 in the Nations Cup, winning all 3 races for the Junior World Champions. But Sophie, they've still got probably some lessons to learn. It's a different game once you get to the World Cup racing, isn't it?
Yeah, these athletes are young, but they've already proven that they have the potential as the years to come.
In that opening World Cup race, they had the fastest run in the second heat, which is amazing for a team making its World Cup debut.
You are so right. They did have one of the fastest runs, and they've consistently done that. Ooh, clean out of 9, or at least clean enough. We'll see how that holds the rest of the track. As they're tailing the Italians, they already are in the green. We love to see it. A little bit of a rough entrance into 12, but they've cleaned it up.
Italians were very quick and very clean down here. Now the USA has fallen behind. The rides aren't perfect, but 9/1000ths of a second is a tight race.
Almost 900ths. That's all right. We can work with that. I'm sure these boys should be happy with that.
42.093.
Their best result so far this year was a 7th place. It's one of 3 top 10s in their debut season on the World Cup. What's the word on Dana? What have you heard about Dana and Frank? Will we see them prior to the World Championships?
Dana, I miss him so much. I hope he's doing well with his recovery. I don't know too much other than he's trying to recover his arm that he unfortunately hurt in Eagles, Austria. And Frank is living his best life, or at least as best as it can be, not being here in Germany.
Now the team from Poland, Wojciech Chmielewski, Jakub Kowalewski, 29 and 30 years old respectively. They finished 8th in the team relay at the Olympics, 9th in the doubles competition. In fact, they're 2-time Olympians.
Yeah, these guys have years of experience under their belt. As you can see, they did a little bump, and probably a coach yelled out an "ah," so they're not going to be happy with that, but they recovered with a great exit of 9. We don't see too many of those. As they now exit Kreisel, we'll see how clean that is. That was a great exit. And perfect 11-12. Those guys are doing great right now. They are going so smooth in the entrances and exits of these curves.
So the fact that they're bleeding time, Sophie, is that equipment?
Possibility, but as you did see, they did have that bump on the start, and what you do at the start does carry down the rest of the track.
Sure, yeah.
What I've heard is you can't win a race from the start, but you sure can lose.
Right, I mean, that's a great point. And in all of the gravity sports, not just luge, but bobsled, skeleton, skiing, skydiving. No, they don't do that competitively, do they?
I don't know, but bobsled and
not.
skeleton for sure are very start-prone sports.
Poland done, the one and only entrant in the World Cup for many seasons now, these two in men's doubles, but Poland will take part tomorrow in team relay. Now we get ready for Italy sled number 2. They finished 12th last year at the World Championships, but came back with a podium the following week in the World Cup. Emmanuel Rieder, Simone Keinsfaldner. And if they can keep the lines clean, they should be fast. We saw what their teammates were able to do down at the bottom of the track. The Italians who still lead.
Oh, these guys had a great exit of 9. But unfortunately, they are leading a little bit of time compared to their teammates, but we'll see how it shows. They should be on similar equipment, so it'll just depend on their driving. Wow, a 10th, over a 10th behind now their teammates. We'll see what the rest of it shows, if they can find more time or if they're just going to continue to bleed. And they are.
Quarter of a second now, so they figure to fall behind certainly the Americans and the Italians. It's a 5th place time right now, 3,800. It's a little bit perplexing in my eyes, Sophie.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why they lost so much speed. They didn't have too many troubles. Maybe they're just riding safe on their equipment, but they had decent lines everywhere. Let's see how they feel after their first run here in Altenberg, Germany in the World Cup. They don't seem to have shown too much emotion, but I'm sure they have some notes to take.
Bots and Pluma not only have the World Cup overall points lead, they have more wins in men's doubles than anyone active not wearing a German uniform. Bots and Pluma have captured World Cup races 7 times in their career. They also took a World Championship last year in the sprint competition, the now perhaps defunct sprint competition.
Like you mentioned, you're so right. These guys have been having a great season. That colorful yellow bib has proven that they have been doing great so far. I hope that they do well today. Even though they're on a track that's foreign to them, I think that they can slide very fast here. Oh, good save out of 9. They almost hit that wall, but the top man steered that very well. They seem to be building a lot of good time now.
600s up over the Italians, the first team to really challenge Italy so far midway through run 1. Good lines.
And they're just making more time. That's great. I love to see it. Let's see how this finish time ends out. Feet down, but they are over a 10 in the lead against the Italians.
Alina, Martins and company celebrating down there in the leader box. Latvia out in front. Earlier today, Latvia placed 2 in the top 5 in women's doubles, where they've really been consistent all year long.
Yeah, it's been great to see these two have been throwing down some really good runs. They're still on the younger side, so they have more years to come, but they are doing great. We love to see it. However, who's up next is a pair of Germans. We have Toni Egger and Florian Müller. We'll see how they are compared to the Latvians who just went.
It's not often in any racing sport that an athlete wins the World Cup in their first ever race, but that was the case with Flo Müller earlier this year in Lillehammer, thanks in great part to teaming up with one of the greatest ever, Toni Egert. Toni, over the years, has won many World Cup overall titles, 6 of them to be exact, 2 Olympic medals.
Yeah, this is a new pairing this year, Toni Egger and Florian Müller. Toni was my coach last year, so I did closely work with him for a year. Great guy, great slider, clearly, because he was able to go from retirement to right back on ice with a new bottom man.
Must have been great to have their wisdom to help your doubles program out last season. His wisdom and experience.
He was okay. He was not a specialty when it came to women's doubles, but he tried his best. And wow, 2 10s back. They are now in 4th place.
That was a good PC answer, Sophie. 4th place right now for Germany. That's a bit of a surprise. We still have 2 other German sleds. All 3 of them have at least 1 win this year, but it's Latvia still leading over Italy and the USA.
Yeah, here they are. They don't seem too pleased with their run. Yeah, you can see Tony shook his head a little bit. But they are for sure going to get a second run, and hopefully they can clean things up then. But here we have another German team, Orlander and Gubitz. No, Olamander and Gubitz, pardon me.
That's right, good catch. We are midway through this first run of men's doubles, third race of the day here in Altenberg. I'm Tim Singer, along with the pride of Raybrook, New York, Sophia Kirkby of Team USA. And the second German in a row. Orlamunder and Gubitz finished 8th here last year at the World Championship race.
Yeah, this is one of the younger doubles teams for Germany. These guys did catch a gold medal in Oberhof, Germany, so we'll see how they can do in Altenberg, Germany. You did see they just had a little tap out of 9, but we'll see how that affects their overall time. They are currently still tracking behind Bots Pluma, the Latvian team. We'll see if they can catch any more time. However, right now they are 10th behind. Exit of 15, that was clean, but they're still bleeding. They just need to find that time, and unfortunately, they're just not. They just continue to bleed. And into 6th place, 3/10 behind. Looks like the Germans are playing peekaboo. At least they're having fun.
This is a bit of a surprise over the last 3 or 4 sleds, and the first time all day we have seen times slow down a bit despite seemingly pretty good driving. They have the correction there, of course. But Sophie, in your mind, this is not a covered track, and it's not snowing, and it's pretty cold. Is the track holding up?
I think the track is holding up from personal and past experience. There's nothing falling from the sky. I don't see any wind blowing. The ice conditions should be great for today.
Well, one indication of just how the track is will come from the next team, the 3rd German team in a row, and the greatest team in the history of doubles luge. 54-time World Cup winners, Toby Vendel and Toby Arlt. A victory here for the Tobys would put them first place all time amongst doubles athletes in total World Cup victories. Places, by the way, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all held by Germany in the Career World Cups list.
Yeah, German on German on German. They had all 3 Germans right after one another. I'm sure that must have been really fun for the coaches. However, they have so many that it shouldn't have been a problem. They had a bit of a skid out of 9, but they handled it well.
Yeah, quick correction by Vendel on top. Now the exit of Kreisel.
Oh, and into the red. They are behind Bots Plume. We'll see if they can catch up. No, they're still just slightly behind.
But it's close. They at least are not bleeding the time that the last several sleds did.
That is true. They are in 2nd place.
1/10 of a second back, well out in front of their German teammates. So Germany right now 2nd, 5th, and 7th in the standings, with a couple of more still to come here in the seeded group, a couple of Austrian sleds.
Yeah, and you can hear that crowd is very excited to have their home athletes here. This is not their home track, however, it is their home country, so I'm sure they all love to see their fellow Germans slide and compete.
If you were watching men's singles.
I was going to say, unfortunately, I don't know German, but it sounded like they said it was all right, but they got stuff to work on.
And as I was mentioning, if you watched the men's singles earlier today, you saw a spectacular crash in curve 16 by the veteran Wolfgang Kindl. Great to see he's okay. Despite that disqualification, he is here and getting ready for doubles. And Sophie, after all of these years in this sport, you should probably be working on your German a little more, right?
Everyone speaks English. I seem to be fine. But here we have Stoy Kindl, other German speakers. Not the exact German that we're talking about, but they do speak German. They had a little bit of a tap out of 9, but that didn't seem to be too much of a problem. They are in the green, trending in Kreisel.
Defending World Cup overall champions. They have 3 podiums, all 3rd place so far this season. A little bit of look like a skid.
Oh, they're having a bunch of little troubles here and there. They just are now starting to get back online in 15. We'll see how much that affected their overall time. They were leading before those troubles, but that was a long time, and they are 9th place, almost 5 tenths behind. I don't think Stoy would be very happy about that.
Oh, no question about it. If you've been following Luge so far this season on the World Cup, there's very little that Austria has done wrong. And this team finished on the podium last year at the World Championships in a 1-2 Austria finish. Different year, different day. Track seems different.
Yeah, every year the track is never exactly perfectly the same. It is concrete, but there's ice built over. It depends on how many layers the ice had this year and how much they took off and shaved. But it looks like this year they did not manage 11 well, and I'm sure that they're not going to be very happy, followed by a red controlled light, just to put salt in the wound.
No doubt. Final sled here in the seated group. One of 3 athletes in today's race named Mueller, all from 3 different nations. Yannick Mueller, alongside Armin Frausche, coming off of their first podium finish of the year. They had a 3rd place finish last week in Sigulda, Latvia. Really been a surprising performance so far from the other 2 Austrian sleds. Let's see what happens here.
Just like that, they are in the green. Let's see how exit of curve 9 is. This is the troubling curve. Wasn't trouble for them. They came out just fine. I heard a little bit of a skid or a foot tap. That was very interesting. But here's where the other Austrians had. Oh, they didn't have the same troubles that they did. However, they're in the red. Oh, and a little bit of a skid in that entrance. Let's see how much they are behind Bot's Plume. By about 500. That's not too much as they go into 2nd place after the seated group.
No, not at all. A good showing, at least compared to the previous 2 Austrian sleds. They didn't continue to bleed the time, Sophia. They managed to hang on and keep it close for run 2.
Yeah, this is a very strong team. They've been performing well for years. I would love to see what they will hold in their 2nd run.
All right, seated group is done. We've still got 6 more sleds, but to give you a quick recap, the standings, Latvia, Bot's Plume leading the way by just 500ths over the Austrian team that just made it down. The 2 Tobys are in 3rd, Nagler Malaya in 4th, then the young Americans, Mueller and Haukshaw, rounding out the top 5 ahead of a couple of other Germans. So it sets the stage for what should be a very interesting and fun 2nd run, but we still have some more sliding, and we have 6 sleds effectively going for 3 positions to make it into run number 2. Only the top 18 will qualify. And here's the team from China, Saikei Jubaye and Shui Hoi.
Small correction, but they came out decently smooth out of curve 9. They are trending well in Kreisel, and we'll see how that exit holds. Decent exit.
Said small correction, when you said small correction, I thought you were going to correct my pronunciation of their names.
Oh no, I do not know how to properly pronounce these guys' names. I would just try. So you did great.
It's harder than sliding.
Ooh, oh, into 15th place. 1 full second behind. We'll see if they get a 2nd run.
They'll have to sit and wait. It's 16th place right now for Canada as well. It's possible for those 2 nations to stay in the top 18, but it will be close to see with the last 5.
They've at least been burdened with the green light.
Right, so as we get ready for our first team from, and only team, I believe, maybe we have 2 from Romania today, but the Romanians are going. Honderek and Molcha, 23 and 22 years old. They finished 17th last week or last season at the World Championships on this track. Sophie, red light, green light, even blue light. Explain to people who aren't aware down at the bottom.
So for those unaware, a red light means that you will be controlled. Your body weight will be taken account of, your clothes will be weighed, and your sled will be weighed. A green light means you have been spared. You get to walk through and you are not to be controlled. A blue light means they are going to take a good look at your sled.
And it's all arbitrary. It's not fixed like the judging in figure skating or something like that.
No, they have made a random algorithm that is given everyone a proper chance at either getting or not getting this light.
Great information as the Romanians are a half second behind the leaders.
Oh, it's
skidding
right
across
off
the finish.
17. And might I say, their suits are quite stylish. I do love this pattern in the color that they are showing.
You might say, they do catch your eye. Now, of note with that finish skid, we saw several in the earlier races today. Do you know where that pad will be in the relay tomorrow? And do you need to have the perfect finish corner, or can you regroup after you skid at the finish?
So the pad that you'll be hitting in team relay, or I won't be hitting, my top woman will be hitting, but they will all be hitting that pad out of curve 18. This is the finish line right here. Curve 18 is right after it to put you in a different direction. As you can see, there's a BMW logo down there. That is the pad right there out of curve 18. So the race is not over once you cross this finish line.
And more importantly, there will be time to recover if that finish corner is a little shaky.
Somewhat, yeah. Well, you need to definitely get it back in lock.
Pretty quickly, yeah.
But here we have the Ukrainians.
Yeah, 23rd place last year at the World Championships. Hoy and Kaczmar. First of two in a row from Ukraine. I'm anxious to see the next team, of whom I know nothing.
Yeah, Hoy and Kaczmar, they had a decent line out of 9. That's been the tricky spot for the doubles coming out of curve 9. And let's see how they come out of Kreisel. Pretty good. Hoy is a great athlete. He's been putting his debut representing Ukraine. Oh, speak of it, now they have a little bit of a skid, but hopefully Hoy can correct it. Okay, they're all right, but we'll see how much they bled.
Yeah, he fought hard to correct that. They're back in 18th place. On the bubble at the moment, they had a career best 15th place finish last week in Sigulda, which really amounts to Ukraine's home track.
As you can see, they skidded up this curve a little bit. And unfortunately, it brought them too much to that right side, and they just skidded, feet are down, and now you're just trying to recover.
Yulia Tanitska was feeling that. She was feeling the pain down at the bottom. Next up, we have an interesting story here. This week in Altenberg, there is no Junior World Cup. The Junior World Cup will resume next week in Bludenz. So here in Altenberg, the Ukrainian team brought all of their juniors, including these two, Maxim Panchuk and Andrei Mutz. So the two teenagers are grabbing the handles, paddling off the start, what will probably be their only World Cup race of the year.
This is a great opportunity and experience for young athletes like these guys. Oh, a little bit of a bump, but they're fine. It's great to see a young pair of athletes trying to make their debut on the World Cup the World Cup circuit. Unfortunately, feet are down, a little bit of a skid, but they've got back online. Now, during training, I'm pretty sure 15, 16, 17 was a troubling spot. Let's see how they've done. They're all right.
Yeah, nicely done at the bottom. They really did a great, experienced job of correcting things. And as you mentioned, it's experience for them. They get a chance to race in the world. In women's doubles, this is the 4th season of women's doubles, and there really was no opportunity. I mean, you all started as a group of athletes together in the very first year of the World Cup, and there weren't a lot of you then, were there?
No, when women's doubles was starting out, there wasn't too many athletes. However, now we have grown a larger population, and I'm very much so looking forward to what it's going to be coming next year into the Olympic year, where women's doubles will be brought into the Olympic debut for the very first time ever.
11 sleds will qualify for the World Championships next year, at least how the standard is now. So things are going to be tense, a little stressful as we get ready for Romania, Shetland, and Serban. In fact, mark your calendar. I believe, Sophie, it is 1 year from today, exactly a year from today, when the Olympic teams need to be announced, or at least the final qualifying race will be that Sunday of this weekend. Ooh, that's going to be a stressful weekend, won't it?
Whoa, that is crazy news to me. Oh, in troubles, but they're back online. These guys don't have the same suits as their teammates do. Great colors, but damn, that style, that was so good.
Well, different teams within countries sometimes have their different sled setup people, so maybe the Romanians have different fashion designers for each team.
Potential. You might be onto something. Let's see how their overall time is. 19th place. Now, unfortunately, I don't think they'll be getting a second run because of that. As you can see, his head is back. He is not happy.
It's Ukraine's Hoyan Kaczmar still sitting on the bubble in 18th place with 2 teams remaining. The next one coming up, a young team from Latvia, who certainly could contend for the top 18.
Yeah, up next we have a new Latvian team that I have personally never met, but I would like to see what they're about to throw down here in Altenberg, Germany.
Raimons Baltgalvis and Uldis Jaksoboga. We don't know how they'll do. One thing we do know, there'll be a lot of yelling here at the start from the coaching staff. The Latvians were the first to do that several years ago.
And there it is. Ho, ho, ho. The tradition that these guys do.
And I heard when you went earlier today, was Ashley or Summer or someone that was yelling at the start, cheering you on?
Mm-hmm. Ashley was cheering me on. We love Ashley, and I love to hear her voice when I'm pulling a start.
Now this Latvian team, very little World Cup action, but they did race at the World Championships last year. 26th place, they're struggling here.
Oh, bit of troubles. Oh, but they're back online. Okay, they're coming in clean into 15, but that was not good to see. That'll definitely affect their overall time, and we'll see if they're able to get a second run.
They do, likely. They knock off Ukraine. They sit in 18th place with 1 remaining. So they've done what they need to do. But the point there is, without those mistakes, they could have conceivably been a couple, perhaps 1 or 2 spots higher.
Yeah, as you can see, this is where their first troubles were. A little bit of a ping pong, meaning going left and right out of that curve. And here they went on to 12 too soon, started skidding, feeder down. Ooh, it looked like it got a little bit hit there. And here's the Latvians' reaction. Very well explains what happened.
All right, 1 remaining here in run number 1. This is the 5th of 6 heats of competition over the 3 races on the opening day, a busy opening day here in Altenberg. Young Slovakian team, 19 years old and 17 years old. Christian Bosman, Bruno Mick. Bruno competed last week in singles and doubles, really being thrown to the wolves in his first 2 weekends on the World Cup.
Yeah, this is a very young doubles team. We'll see how they do here in Altenberg, Germany. Oh, no! Okay, they're back online, but that was some bad hits that they got there out of curve 9, the troubling curve. We'll see how they can clean up the rest of their run. Okay, they're chill. Bruno Mick, a young athlete from Slovakia. He has great potential in his future. He also has a sister, Mia Mick, who I'm sure is listening right now at home. Oh my goodness. Well, she's definitely got something to watch.
Bruno competing, as I mentioned, in singles and doubles, as his father did many years ago on tour. A lot of family in the sport of luge, brothers, sisters, fathers, mothers. There were no other Kirkbys in World Cup luge, were there?
Actually, believe it or not, my dad back in the day did bobsled for the U.S. Air Force. So he represented the U.S. Air Force team back in the late 70s as Kirkby, part of the team.
Back in the golden days, or at Mount Van Hovenberg, there might be some Saturday afternoon races with 30 sleds. It was unbelievable. Well, run number one comes to an end. We'll be flashing up those standings in a moment. It's Austria, Germany, and the Latvians leading everyone. What do you see, Sophie? I'm putting you on the spot. How will things shake out in run number 2?
All right, let's see what we got here. We got Latvia, Austria, Germany, Italy, and USA, top 5. That is a very diverse leaders board.
Indeed it is. For your teammates, the Americans, will the challenge be to hold off the Germans that are behind them, or can they make it onto the podium?
I think Mueller and Haugsche can lead the way and potentially get on the podium. They're not too far off, and they had a couple troubling spots in their first run, which means if they can clean it up their second run, they can find time.
All right, that is Luge World Cup medalist, analyst, and cheerleader Sophie Kirkby with the call as we have second run action coming your way. Let's see, right now it is just about 32 minutes past the hour. The run is coming your way. We'll rejoin action in about 18 minutes. The second and final run of men's doubles, the final run of the day here in Altenberg, Germany. Don't go too far. Sophie and I will be back in Altenberg in just a moment.
Around the world, EBERSPÄCHER stands for Reliable Automotive Systems and Components. Our aim is to offer the best quality in every application. And therefore, each of our products reflects our passion.